Then the Bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashura, said to the Blessed One, Blessed One, how should one seek out the Dharma taught by the Blessed One? Blessed One, how will one take firm hold of the roots of virtue after hearing the Sanghata Sutra Dharmaparyaya? The Blessed One said, Sarvashura, one should know that the mass of merit of one who listens to the Sanghata Sutra Dharmaparyaya is just like offering reverential service to as many Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect and complete Buddhas as there are grains of sand in 12 Ganges rivers, providing them with everything required for their happiness. The Bodhisattva Sarvashura said, Blessed One, how are the roots of virtue to be brought to completion? He asked this, and the Blessed One said to the Bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashura, these roots of virtue are to be understood to be equal to a Tathagata. What are these roots of virtue that are to be understood to be equal to a Tathagata? The Blessed One said, an orator of the Dharma is to be understood to be equal to a Tathagata. Sarvashura said, Blessed One, who is an orator of the Dharma? Anyone who reads out the Sanghata Sutra is an orator of the Dharma. Sarvashura said, Blessed One, since even those who hear the Sanghata Sutra Dharmaparyaya will produce such a mass of merit, what need is there to mention those who write it out and read it? How much a mass of merit will they produce? The Blessed One said, Sarvashura, listen. It is as follows. To make an analogy, in each of the 4 directions, as many Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect and complete Buddhas, as there are grains of sand in 12 Ganges rivers, could sit and teach the Dharma for 12 eons. Yet, even if they described the mass of merit of the one writing out the Sanghata Sutra, they would not be able to comprehend its end, nor express it in words. If even as many Buddhas, blessed ones, as there are grains of sand in 48 Ganges rivers, are unable to express the mass of merit of the one writing it out, what need is there to mention that whoever writes it out or reflects on it or reads it will become a treasury of the Dharma? The Bodhisattva Sarvashura said, Blessed One, how much will be the mass of merit of the one who reads it? Then, at that time, the Blessed One spoke these verses. As for the virtues of those who have read, one mere stanza of 4 lines, though conquerors as many as grains of sand in 84 of the Ganges rivers, should describe uninterruptedly all the merits of those who have read this sutra, the Sanghata, still that merit would not run out. The Dharma taught by enlightened ones is hard to find and limitless. At the time, and at that moment as well, 84 hundreds of thousands of myriad millions of devas placed their palms together and bowed down toward where the teaching of the Sanghata Sutra Dharmaparyaya was. They said to the Blessed One, Blessed One, for whatever purpose the Blessed One deposited such a Dharma treasury on this planet Earth, It is good, very good. 1,800,000 myriad millions of naked ascetics from other traditions arrived at the place where the Blessed One was and said to the Blessed One, Ascetic Gautama, Sir, be victorious. The Blessed One said, the Tathagata is always victorious. Sirs, heretical nudists, how could you, heretics, be victorious? They said, may you be victorious, ascetic Gautama, may you be victorious. The Blessed One said, I see no victor amongst you if you abide in the wrong way. How are you to be victors? You naked ones, listen as I express something to benefit you. To a childish mind, there is nothing pleasant. How are you to be victors? Therefore, with the Buddha eye, I will teach also the profound path. Then those naked ascetics became angry at the Blessed One and generated a mind of disbelief. At that time, at that moment, Indra, the lord of the Devas, wielded his thunderbolt. At that, those 18 million naked ascetics were overcome with fear and stricken with great suffering. They wept, and their tears began to flow. The Blessed One also made his body disappear. And at that, the naked ascetics sobbed, and their faces filled with tears. Not seeing the Blessed One, they spoke these verses. There is no friend to defend us here. Likewise, no father and no mother. What we see is like a wilderness. No vacant house or place to stay. Nor is there even water here. There are no trees, nor any birds. Here, no living beings are seen. With no protector, we feel suffering. Since we do not see the Tathagata, what we experience is greatly unbearable. Then, at that time too, the 18 million naked ascetics arose and knelt with both feet on the ground. They raised their voices and sang out, Tathagata, endowed with compassion, complete Buddha, supreme among humans, please do what will benefit us. Be the refuge for beings in despair. Then the Blessed One displayed a smile and said to the Bodhisattva Savashura, Savashura, go and explain the Dharma to the heretical naked ascetics from other traditions. He spoke thus, and the Bodhisattva, the great being Savashura, said to the Blessed One, Blessed One, if the Black Mountain demolishes its boulders, prostrating with its peak to Mount Sumeru, the king of mountains, how am I to teach the Dharma while the Tathagata is present? The Blessed One said, be quiet, child of the lineage. The skillful means of the Buddhas are many. So go, Savashura, look among the world systems in the 10 directions and see where Tathagatas are appearing and where there are seats set up. Savashura, I myself will teach the Dharma to the heretical naked ascetics from other traditions. The Bodhisattva Savashura said, Blessed One, by whose supernatural power shall I go? By means of my own supernatural power, or rather by the supernatural power of the Tathagata? The Blessed One said, Savashura, go by the blessing of the strength of your own supernatural power. Savashura, come back by the Tathagata's supernatural power. Then the Bodhisattva Savashura arose, circumambulated the Blessed One, and disappeared on that very spot. Then the Blessed One taught the Dharma to those heretics from other traditions. Friends, birth is suffering. Birth itself is also suffering. Once one is born, there arise many fears of suffering. From birth, fears of sickness arise. From sickness, fears of aging arise. From aging, fears of death arise. Blessed One, what is it to say that from birth, fear of being born will be born? From being born as a human, many fears arise. Fear of the king arises. Fear of thieves arises. Fear of fire arises. Fear of poison arises. Fear of water arises. Fear of wind arises. Fear of whirlpools arises. Fear of the actions one has done arises. The Blessed One taught the Dharma in many forms, such as this topic of birth, and at that time, at that moment, the heretical naked ascetics from other traditions were utterly terrified and said, "From now on, we will never again aspire to be born." When the Blessed One explained the Sanghata Sutra Dharmaparyaya, the 18 million heretical naked ascetics from other traditions fully completed the unsurpassed, perfect and complete enlightenment. From his own retinue as well, 18,000 bodhisattvas were established on the 10 grounds, and they all emanated supernatural displays as well, such as the form of a horse, the form of an elephant, the form of a tiger, the form of a Garuda, the form of Mount Sumeru, and forms like the pattern of a swastika, and some displayed the form of a tree. They all sat cross-legged on lotus thrones as well. 9,000 million bodhisattvas sat down to the right of the Blessed One. 9,000 million bodhisattvas sat down to the left of the Blessed One. And the Blessed One remained in meditative equipoise the entire time, and appeared to teach the Dharma through skillful means. On the 7th day, the Blessed One stretches out the palm of his hand and knows that the Bodhisattva, the great being Savashura, is coming there from the Padmotara world system. When the Bodhisattva, the great being Savashura, was going to the Padmotara world system, by the blessing of the strength of his own supernatural powers, he arrives there in 7 days. When the Blessed One stretched out his hand, and at that time, the Bodhisattva Savashura was in the presence of the Blessed One. After circumambulating the Blessed One 3 times, his mind became inspired with pure faith in the Blessed One. He placed his palms together, bowed down to the Blessed One, and said this to the Blessed One: "Blessed One, when I went to all the world systems of the 10 directions, Blessed One, by one of my supernatural powers, I saw 99,000 million Buddha fields, and by 2 supernatural powers, I saw 1,000 million Blessed Ones. On the 7th day, I arrived at the Padmotara world system, and on the way I also saw hundreds of thousands of millions of unshakable Buddha fields. Then, Blessed One, first I saw the supernatural displays of the Buddhas, the Blessed Ones, and I saw Tathagatas teaching the Dharma in 92,000 million Buddha fields. And on that very day, in 80,000 million Buddha fields, I saw 80,000 million Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect and complete Buddhas, arising in the world. After making prostrations to all those Blessed Ones, I went further. Blessed One, on that very day I passed 39,000 million Buddha fields, and in those 39,000 million Buddha fields, there also arose 39,000 million Bodhisattvas, and on that very day they were completely enlightened in the unsurpassed, perfect and complete enlightenment. I circumambulated those Blessed Ones, Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect and complete Buddhas 3 times, and became invisible by means of supernatural power. Blessed One, in 16 million Buddha fields also, I saw Buddhas, Blessed Ones. Blessed One, I made prostrations to the Buddha fields and to the Buddhas and continued on straight away.